We got Mr. Franklin here helping us out today to show you about how big the tail piece is on this lathe. So we're getting ready to dial in this chuck. We're going to cheat. Instead of making an adapter plate and screwing it on to the end of the spindle, we're just going to chuck up the 3-jaw in the 4-jaw, and we're going to make it work. We're not making piano parts here or something, you know. If we can get within 1,000th or so on a lathe this size, you're probably in the money. This thing, I can chuck an 8-foot long piece in it, and it has a patent date of 1901 on there. That doesn't say that that's when it was built. It just says that's when the patent date is on it. So it's somewhere, it probably was built somewhere between 1901 and 1910, 1915. Probably by that date, they probably started changing them a little bit. But she's over 100 years old. We're getting ready to use it on a job next week, and so I want to get this chuck dialed in. I got the dial indicator set up on there. You can just see the dial on there. Anyways, let me get some more lights turned on here and we'll get after it. Well, it's pretty easy to see this thing ain't quite centered as I spin it around. Just the weight of the chuck being off-centered, you know, that gives you a good indication. Anyways, you can go by the lines on these bigger chucks. There's some lines on the front of the chuck on this one, and you can look at that in relationship to this line on the chuck jaw itself, and you can get a pretty good idea. Like this one here, let me bring you in on that. Like this one here, you can see how close it is to the line. This line, I mean, it's just referencing is all you're doing, you know, to try and speed the process up. You can see how close that is. Let's move it around. See how far that is away. So we can do a quick reference on that. And there's another one. This particular chuck is numbered on the side, 1, 2, jaw, 3 type of deal. Okay, that way it'll help you keep track of where you're at. I've gotten to where I'm pretty fast at running this 4-jaw chuck, but a 3-jaw chuck for quick stuff that's not irregular shape, you can slam and go type of deal. They're a lot faster is what I'm saying. So anyway, we got dial indicator here. There we go. Anyways, it's upside down, of course. It's upside down to me too. So you can see how far off it is. So let's use our quick reference guides up here and bring it in close. Hopefully it gets this within 100,000ths, and we'll dial it in a little closer from there. Okay, we got some lights turned on. We're going to do some quick referencing on here and get this thing in a little closer. So we need to come, because we're farther away on this line, okay, so we're on 4 and we tighten it up to hold it. Recheck in your back surfaces to make sure that your chuck didn't move out or get all wonky on you. Okay, we're about, let's see, there is 4, so we're pretty close, just kind of eyeballing it there. Now we want to make these other two about the same by eyeballing it. hold on to the front of your chuck so it doesn't pop out for some crazy reason. Now look, take an eyeball it again. Yeah, I mean that's close, a lot closer than it was. Let's get a little bit snuggy on here, just a little bit. There, that's pretty good. Okay. This is what we're focusing on, is this line here, line 12, in reference to just this cut line on the chuck jaw. It's all just quick referencing stuff. Okay, so it seems to be pretty good. And eyeballing it here, I think we're within 100,000. So let's get our dial indicator on here. You want to keep these surfaces clean. Zoomy back out again. You want to keep these surfaces clean. So your dial indicator sits properly and doesn't move around when you're spinning the jaw, okay? So now the track, you're trying to land this little teeny point right here of the dial indicator, because this moves in and out to move the needle, right? Dial indicator. Anyway, that's what controls it, is right here. So keep that clean, keep your surface that you're measuring clean, okay? It's not rocket science stuff. Now, you gotta look at your piece that you're rotating on, whether it's a chuck or next week when we do this job, this pin job, we will put the pin in here, and I'll throw a dial indicator on here. Even though it's a 3 jaw, I'll throw it up there real quick because we're going to have it on the tailstock on the end down here. And when I do that job, I'll do a quick video so you can see that happen. Anyway, I'll throw it on there just to double check myself to see how close we are, okay? Now the other thing is here, you need a track, what I'm going to call a track, for lack of better terms. You're going to need a track for the end of that tip to run on that's continuous. You see that? See that notch for that jaw to slip into? That indicator right there, the tip that falls in that notch, it's going to knock your indicator off, maybe on the floor, break it, whatever. Bend the tip of this, then it's junk. So you want to get it on a continuous track around this circumference of this, and then you got a spot where your wrench goes in to tighten the chuck. So you know, you got to watch it on this side of it for that, and then you got to watch it on this side of it because you got 3 of each, and they're, you know, so bring it up here. So put it close to that. Well, if we're not fiddling around here. There, okay. Now bring it up to the next one, nice and easy like. And we're about equal distance. Right? Equal distance to the notch or the circle or whatever you want to call it, to the tip there and there. So we can go all the way around now and check the dial to make sure where we're at. So let me see if I can get you propped up here so you can watch this dial with me. There's the dial. Let's check it. So that wasn't so bad. I'm within, it's about 60 thousandths. That's a 1/16 of an inch. So eyeballing it, I got it within a 1/16 of an inch. Not bad. I just threw it up there, checked it, and I'm within a 1/16 of an inch. So I got to split the difference on that. 30 thousandths. Okay, so I got to move it 30 thousandths. But which way? So we got to go by our numbers. We got to start someplace. We go by our numbers. Let's set up on number 1. There's jaw number 1 right there. Let's start there. Bring that down to our indicator so it's level with our indicator, right? So there's our starting point. Let's just start at number 1 and we'll see how far off it is. Okay, let's zero out. We're off 60, so let's zero out. Our indicator. That's close enough for now. And see where it is. Then our opposite jaw will be jaw number 3. Let's get this cover out of here. That's driving me crazy. I don't know about you guys. Anyway, jaw number 3 then will be opposite of jaw number 1, right? Odds and evens. So we spin over to jaw number 3. I'm gonna hang on. Okay, we're back. I can't do that with it sitting on the stand. Okay, jaw number 3. I'll try and hold this as steady as I can so it doesn't drive you guys crazy. Now we're even with jaw number 3. Okay, so that's opposite, and that's 40 thou. So now to tell which direction, when you push on this, so it's gone away from us, that direction, away from us, 40 thousandths. Okay? Actually, that ain't right either. I'm thinking backwards again. Okay, so setting up the dial indicator. Small dial, right there, shows your increments for what I call setup increments. I want to be into it at least 100 thousandths. Okay, so let's move in 100 thousandths and set up on 0. Close enough for right now to get us started. We're just roughing in right now, but the small dial then is on 100 thousandths. That way, if it goes down, we've got, we know we're within 60. So 100 thousandths is close enough. So the dial, this needle, holy cow, I can't even talk today. This needle is only going to move 60, but we've got 100 thousandths buffer. Okay, so it can actually go 100 or a little better, because it actually will actually go below. But you've got that much of a buffer either direction. So your little dial shows bigger increments. This gets you in within, I mean, you can get within a needle width. Okay, so we are on jaw number 1. Okay, so let's go to 3 and we'll see. There's jaw number 3 coming around. Okay, there it is. Now we've gotten closer to us, right? It's gotten closer because it's pushing in on the indicator. So we need to move the chuck that direction away from us. It shows us 60 thousandths. about. So we want to split the difference, because if we move it 60 thousandths now, it will still be 60 out. So we want to split that in half and move 30. Actually, it looks like about 31. So let's shoot for 30 right now. We'll move back from jaw number 3 back to jaw number 1. Okay, there's our indicator. Okay, we're back to 0 again, and we're on jaw number 1. Okay, and for some of you guys that do this all the time, this is going to be, you know, elementary stuff. So we loosen our chuck, and we watch our dial indicator. Don't whack you into your indicator and knock it off. Well, we're only wanting to move 30 thousandths, so it's not a lot. So just barely crack that. Now let's move back to jaw number 1 again. Or jaw number 3, excuse me. Okay. And then you tighten this one to get it to move away from the indicator. Now we only moved about 21 thousandths, right? Okay, so now let's zero that. Let's start with that, and let's zero it again. Some guys will say don't tap on it, whatever. We're going to get in there real close. Okay, now let's check it. We'll go back to, that was jaw number 3. Let's go back to 1 again. There's 1, correct? So now we are under by about 12, 13 thou. Okay, look at your small dial. Your small dial is under 100 thousandths now, and your indicator shows that you're under, I can't look in the camera and do that, about 13 thou. So let's really get it in dialed close. Split 13 in half, and you're about 6, 7 thou, something like that. But it needs to go, come to us. Looks like. Okay, so we loosen this one, just barely crack it, with the wrench. Okay, and it started to come back. Now let's go back we're just kind of tightening back up again, okay, just so it doesn't move. Now we'll go back to the opposite side again and zero it. We could have zeroed it that time. And see how close we are. If we get it within 5, we'll call it good, and we'll go to the other jaws, and then we'll bring it all in a lot closer. Now our battery's going dead. There, we're within 1 or 2 thou right there. Let me go change the battery and we'll get right back to it. We're within 1 or 2 thousandths on jaw 1 and 3. So now we're almost right there. We'll check the other side and we'll run it off of what we've set on 1 and 3, because they're within 1 or 2 thousandths of each other. And so we want to get the other one, bring those other 2 jaws in that close. Go change this battery and we'll be right back. Okay, we're back. You're probably saying, geez, what a stupid guy. Why didn't he check his battery before he started shooting? Well, I did, and the camera said it was full, but full, I guess, doesn't mean full. I don't know. Anyways, batteries changed. Let's get back to work. this is what we're wanting to do next. Seeing as how we're within 1 or 2 thou, let's go to 2 and 4. So we'll back up and we'll go to 4 or 2. Jeez. Yeah, 2. Okay. And it is, well, if you want to double check yourself, grab the end of the indicator. It is away from this jaw 12 thousandths, about like the other one was. So let's change it and bring it in a little closer to the indicator, okay? There we're about a 1/2 thousandths under. We're about a full thousandths there. And we're about 2 thousandths back the other way, so we're about 3 thousandths total off. I want it closer than that. So let's go to where it's under, again, the full amount, which is about right there. And that is jaw number 2. So we just barely loosen that and then retighten it a little tiny bit, and we go, seeing as how that's jaw 2, let's go to jaw 4, and then we tighten that, and guess what? We're going the wrong way. This stuff is opposite, so it'll mess with your head when you're doing it. You'll think you're going the right direction and you're not. Even after doing it for all these years, I still get backwards. Now we're trying to move away again. There, we're almost dead on right there. That's a little closer there. We're about a 1/2 thou off. Okay. Wrong way again. Doggone it. Now we're almost dead on 0. There, it's moving the right way. Okay. Now let's check our other one. We're 1 thousandths too close there. So we pull it into 0, and you want to start tightening now, because you're only 1 thousandth off. You can actually move it 1 thousandth just by tightening it. Okay. This isn't necessarily the preferred way to mount this chuck, but it'll be all right. We're going to be within 1/2 thou. That one's right dead on. This one could use a little, just a oomph. A 1 oomph. Only 1 oomph. Don't give it 2 oomphs. Just 2 oomphs is too many. Okay? Alright. Here we are, if I can quit jiggling. You know, that's going to be close enough. We're maybe a half or a 1/4 thousandth off. Maybe. You know, not bad. Not bad at all. I can live with that for what we're going to be doing. You know, any closer than that, you ought to have a smaller machine with than this. You know, if you're going to be cutting pins that are 1/4 inch pins or 3/8 pins, now I've done them. I've done pins on this thing down to 100 thousandths before, and they were short pins. They were only maybe 1/2 inch long, and I built those pins on this machine before with the 4-jaw chuck. But you got to have your game face on for that kind of stuff. With a machine this big, this is like trying to tow your Subaru with a freight train. You know, when you work with stuff that small. But this is a pin I haven't measured it yet. I just gandered it. He was using millimeters. I live in the United States, so you talk to me in inches, you know, but whatever. It don't matter. That's supposed to be a joke, you know. You got to be able to laugh about that stuff. If you can't laugh about it, man, you're on the wrong channel. Anyways, we're within a half a thousandths on our lathe now. That pin over there is about 2-inch pin, so we're good to go. I mean, next week when I get to doing the pin, I'll show you what I'm up to and what he needs done. We're basically building a new pin. I'll walk over there and show it to you. I might have took a picture earlier. This is what we're up to over here on the workbench. We want to mount a zerk in the end of the pin. This is what's called a pin, and this is for a backhoe machine, whatever. You know, it doesn't matter to me what it's for, but it gives me an idea. But you can see how this one is worn down real badly here, so he wants to replace that before it shears and breaks, and then it will mess up something else. So this is brand new stock. There's no holes in it. So what we have to do is, there's what's called a grease zerk on the end of it, and what you do is you hook a grease gun up to that zerk, of course. A lot of you guys know this already, and you pump grease inside this port. There's a port. That's what my job is to drill a port, cross drill it, drill a retainer pinhole, and then thread the end of it here for one of these zerks. That way he can install this pin, use the hole to retain the pin in the machine, and then put a grease gun on the end of it, pump it with grease. Grease comes out in the middle and works its way out to each end. That's what he wants. So, here we go. Next week we'll get started on this. We got other stuff we got to do this weekend, and we'll get back to this during regular business hours, if you want to call it that. We don't run a business around here. This is a friend of mine, long time old friend, and I'm helping him out, and then your friend helps you out later on when you need it, right? Okay. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you coming around when we're right in close to the weekend like this, and when we do this job, we'll get back to you and show you a 120, almost 120-year-old lathe run and what we do with it. We still use it. You know, every week we're doing some little something on this machine, but there you go. That's dialing in a 3-jaw chuck on a 4-jaw chuck, setting it up, getting it ready to use. The thing of it is, whether you're dialing in that chuck right there, or a piece that you're going to work on, the procedure's the same. Either way, it's the same. You throw a dial indicator up there, you eyeball it in on the lines, using the references, just like I did here. Quick reference, you dial it in. That's how I dial this one in anyways. I pick a reference point, and it's usually this machined edge on the end of that jaw right there against the face of this. It was nice that these old chucks, they put those lines on there and they numbered them and all that stuff. And then your jaws are numbered, so it helps you keep track. And then there is a right in there is a jaw, a chuck release. You can see that moving around in there, and you spin this around to where these fall back in the notch. These wings right here fall back into turn that. Let's see if we can get you a shot of that. It didn't fall in. See there? Now it's engaged and the whole thing rotates and it's ready to use. Okay guys, that's it. That's how to set up a 4-jaw chuck, whether you're putting another chuck in it, which is not the preferred way to do it, but it's going to work for this example. We're just going to bore a hole in the end of the shaft. It's not rocket science. It's not rocket science. It's not building a piano. We're not building aerospace equipment here. We're working on a backhoe. We want it as close as we can get it, but it's just to pump grease through it. So we're going to center bore the center of that pin so the grease can go in, and then we're going to cross bore it, port it. I call it porting. We're going to cross port it to the bore, and then we're going to put the zerk in the end. See you next week. Thanks for watching, guys.